This video is a film study look at 10 throws from Sam Darnold that really helped determine the outcome of the Seahawks' 21-19 loss to the Rams in Week 11. We're actually going to start this one near the end. This is the fourth quarter drive, of course, the failed 61-yard, culminating with the failed 61-yard field goal that as time expired. So this is a 3rd and 6 when you're snapping the football with your own heels in the end zone, down 3, in fact, with 1:25 left. So the concept here is quite simple. It's a too-high safety structure for the Rams. And Barner, who had, I believe, 10 catches for 70 or 75 yards, easy completion underneath, no doubt, to try to get things rolling and get the ball out of the end zone and give them at least an opportunity for either a Hail Mary or a last-second field goal. That play is actually not one that I think would be illustrative of the quality of play that the Rams demonstrated throughout the game on defense and the difficulty with which Darnold and the wide receivers / tight ends had to navigate to try to make catches. I think this one does. This is a 1st and 10. It's going to be an incomplete pass to Kupp. I'll give you the end zone angle first. One of the few times where you've got this absolutely pristine throwing platform for Sam Darnold, right? They had a lot of trouble pass proing even before Zabel went out of the game. In any case, Cooper Kupp is off screen top right for us. And he's being guarded by, I think it's Durant. Fantastic job, if you ask me. You will get the all-22 angle here of this one in a moment. Of just putting himself in the underside position such that Darnold's throw has got to be perfectly laid out there in front of Kupp. Very low percent chance or opportunity, if you will, for Seattle to possibly get a bigger gain. This is the all-22 angle of the same play. Durant moving over to line up late. You've got JSN on the backside as the X-receiver. Kupp as the number 2 in the bunch, and then that's Shaheed. I believe he just runs essentially a clear-out route on this concept. Sail concept, deeper out, whatever you want to refer to it as for Kupp. And you'll see Durant orient himself kind of underneath of Kupp's route. It almost kind of looks like trail man a little bit. I thought Durant played spectacular. Of course, he had an interception earlier in the game. Again, we're starting from the end here. This is one of the few times, like I said, where you get a good pocket. Generally, Darnold had opportunities to throw the football, but he'd have to move around or shift a little bit because the lanes were taken away. Very small percent chance to complete this one, obviously. Kupp making an attempt, nonetheless, out on the sideline. I think this gives you an idea of how the too-high safety structure at times gave Darnold and the Seahawks trouble. I'm talking about this safety being deep and being able to navigate possibly the vertical by Shaheed, and also play a little bit of a trail concept by the nickel DB, like I said, is Durant. Still on that same drive, the last one, in fact, that ended with the missed field goal was a 3rd and 6. Pretty easy conversion for JSN, lined up outside here as the number 1 receiver. Shaheed is going to take his route inside to the right hash, and what that does is it just kind of pulls this nickel defender Durant with him, and JSN will run onto that space. This stunt showed up a ton in this game against the right side of Seattle's offensive line. And, no matter who the defensive end was or OLB was, it seemed to get home often. Now, in this case, it does end up getting stoned late by, I believe that's the right guard, Bradford. You don't really get a great angle or great sense of the defensive tackle's rush from this all-22 view, but you'll see one of these a little bit later on one of the interceptions that was quite successful. You got a quick hit on the quarterback as he releases the football, but it's a B-gap rush by the defensive end, and then, the defensive tackle, and then the defensive end or OLB, whatever you want to refer to him as. I think that's Young stunting underneath. Completion to JSN here on a deeper out concept, and I think this gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the things that the Rams try to do defensively. Whether you want to call it bracket, double, whatever, I'm comfortable with it. It's a deep out concept, like I said, for JSN. I think it's Williams is the outside corner up top. Kupp is going to kind of chip release out into the flats. I think conceptually, they're comfortable with just playing man on 2, in this case being Kupp. And watch this safety's orientation. How he turns his body to basically look directly at JSN, possibly taking away, any in-breaking routes, number 1. Number 2, you've got the outside corner. Like I said, I believe that's Williams holding on to his outside leverage, not forfeiting that outside leverage. It kind of doesn't matter because Sam Darnold still throws it. JSN still gets the completion. I think coming back to the ball here, there's a lot of separation, so he didn't need to necessarily, but coming back to the ball here just kind of ensures that it's a high percent opportunity. And I think Darnold understood that when he threw this football. Basically, he's not trying to throw it out here such that the corner might be able to recover to the outside. I think he's intentionally, I should say, underthrowing this back short of the 40. They get the conversion, super smooth. It gives them another first down with, I think, less than 25 seconds left. Final throw or play that I'll show you from that drive and how it reflects on Darnold. I think he's going to his best guy, JSN. It's a defensive pass interference on Forbes up at the top. I'll rewind it a little bit, and I can't zoom in with the functionality or technology that I'm using, but in any case, it's outside the hash number 1, so from the bottom of the numbers down, I should say. And I think you've got the safety to the side kind of jumping Barner's route in the middle of the field. We're talking about his quickness, abrupt burst downhill to try to intercept the football or at least make a play on Barner. And how that relates to the outside is Forbes is taking outside leverage initially, and JSN is immediately recovering it, so forcing him to turn back to the outside. I think Forbes looks super athletic here in doing so, by the way. But there's definitely a hold prior to the challenge or the contest on the throw. And what I mean is, we've got the all-22 angle, and I'm not sure if this is on you guys' end coming through as 1080 or 720 or what, but there you go. Got a pretty good angle view of it right there. Again, Darnold is looking possibly in the middle of the field, and that safety is acquiescing, jumping down to try to take over Barner's route. Perhaps Darnold knew exactly where he was going with the football. Basically, it gives Seattle a first down right at midfield with, I think, 12 or 10 seconds left. Of course, there was another throw there after the short completion to Shaheed to try to put him in field goal range, 61-yarder that ends up being wide right and short. So we're rewinding time a little bit here. We will show a couple of the interceptions. This first one definitely has something to do with the pass pro number 1. Number 2 is a ball that Darnold, for whatever reason, in the moment, thought he could throw, and he could throw, and he clearly could not. So it's 12 personnel, and man, you have to give the Rams credit for the way that they match some of this. I have charted all the 12 personnel plays from the game. Maybe if I get the opportunity for Wednesday night, I'll go over the way that the Rams defended. A lot of it basically got a 6-1 look with a 2-high safety structure. Talking about these 2 safeties here. So very smart, intelligent, if you ask me. You can get some pass rush on play action, which Kubiak likes to use from 12 personnel, but also force the run to declare early with that 6-1 front. Now, there's also man being attached to it across the board. How does that impact the play? Well, I think that Darnold believes that there's no one to interrupt or get involved with, I should say, Kupp's route here. It's kind of like a deeper comeback route curl. In between the top of the numbers and the left hash, there is pressure in his face. That definitely impacts his ability to make the throw, not absolving him of responsibility. This is just extremely poor decision, given that you've got a safety who, whatever you want to call it, low hole dropper, middle of the field, the rat in a man-free coverage, however you want to refer to it, just reading the quarterback's eyes, very similar to reading the quarterback's eyes and then identifying a route, I should say, from the other side of the field. Very similar to the play I showed you a little bit earlier on the final drive where the safety was kind of sitting down trying to take over Barner's route. Same play from the end zone angle. Like I said, it's a very interesting look by the Rams against 12 personnel. I think somewhat effective at times. This is the defensive tackle who's going to get pressure. Initially, Zabel helps out with the center, and then he'll peel to the outside to go assist Charles Cross. And that's the moment when that defensive tackle starts to get some vertical movement on the center, the backup who came in after I think Sundell was injured. But in any case, you can see he's basically pushed the center back into Darnold's lap. Darnold, a fadeaway throw. Poor decision, obviously. I have no idea what's been said about it in press conferences or interviews, whatever. But to me, just absolutely poor decision. You don't know where the safety is. He probably knew the coverage, but just a great job by the Rams, if you ask me, of taking advantage of a mistake early See, and the thing that makes it really unfortunate is Seattle's defense had just made a goal line stand to get the football, and then you turn the football over, give them another opportunity. It still took 4 downs for the Rams to get in the end zone. I think the 1-yard touchdown run by Williams. Moving forward here, we're into the second quarter. You're not necessarily going to be able to see the way that I drew this route with some of the annotations or edits, but it's 14-6 Rams at this point. It's check X go, whatever people want to call it. He's getting an outside release basically. So again, this is not drawn in a fashion that really represents the width of his route. But what's happening is this safety's dropping down. And so he's dropping down in the middle of the field. The safety from the other side is moving to the middle of the field, free safety, if you will. And so Darnold knows exactly where he wants to go with the football. You can see as soon as the ball is snapped, he's looking in that direction. It's a 4-man pass rush by the Rams. Opportunity for Darnold to get rid of the ball quickly to his favorite guy, and an amazing catch one-handed. It's kind of ridiculous, everything that JSN's been able to do so far this year. I think he had 9 catches on 10 targets, or maybe it was 9 on 11. And then Barner had 10 catches on 12 targets. Perhaps I've got the total number mixed up individually for those two guys, but collectively, I think 19 catches on 23 targets, really developing into, a reliable duo, even though at least one of those passes that was intended for one of those guys ended up being an interception. This is the same play from the end zone angle. It's a 4-man rush scheme, and you can see this. The first place that Darnold looks once he gets the football under control. For a moment, he'll look to his right over here. I'm not sure what he's checking. It doesn't look like to me he's looking downfield. It almost looks like he's checking for a blitz. Maybe he's checking for this stunt that's been effective, pretty much most of the day, that I've kind of diagrammed out twice already. Beautiful throw up the left sideline, lofted perfectly over the top of the DB. JSN, a one-handed catch. I mean, he's playing about as well as it gets, if you ask me, for a wide receiver in this league. The unfortunate thing from a Seattle perspective is that on this possession, they were only able to generate a field goal and get to within, I think, 14-9. We've moved to the third quarter. In fact, the first possession of the third quarter for the Seahawks, this is going to be another interception on a 3rd and 9. The difficult thing here is, and I'm sure that it's been covered or talked about a lot, is this is the same stunt. So the defensive tackle is going to get upfield through the B gap, and then the defensive end, I think that's Young up top, but I might be wrong, maybe it's Verse, is going to stunt underneath late, and that definitely impacts Darnold's ability to step into this throw at all. Now, Durant is already all over this, in my opinion. So I think he's done a nice job of sitting on top of the route. It's a 3rd and 9, so JSN is breaking, pretty much at the line to gain, which I think is the -45. Darnold, because he's being collisioned, has absolutely nothing on this throw at all. The throw never gets into 5th gear. It's really, only in 2nd or 3rd. Easy interception on the undercut by Durant. Super unfortunate, or I should say, super difficult to justify from an offensive line standpoint that you keep getting beat by the same stunt. Having said that, I get it here in that this nose tackle's lined up in the A gap, and he's going to kind of cross the center's face, and so that takes the center with him, if you will. So we're talking about 55 and how 91 crosses his face. And so 55 is trying to figure out, okay, is 91 actually looping around, which would not be his job to take over, or is there someone else switching? Nope, it's all an obfuscation, if you ask me, to free up 0 on the stunt. And you can see he gets right in that lane for a huge hit on Darnold. In my opinion, impacts his ability to step into the throw and finish it off and hopefully, get that ball into 5th gear. It's also possible that we've got, his hand deflected here just at the release point or afterwards. All of those things are a factor, if you ask me, that turns us into, an easy interception while targeting his best guy, JSN. I think an underrated element here is what happened on the 6th possession. First of all, you had a touchdown nullified, a touchdown run by Walker, I think 15 yards. And then the very next snap is a 1st and 20, where Shaheed gets, separation up here at the top side against Forbes. You get an example here of, again, taking the one-on-one. This safety is going to stay with Kupp. Kupp just basically runs like a stop route or a hitch route somewhere around the 21, 22-yard line. And Darnold rightfully takes the one-on-one, to Shaheed up top. You can see there's definitely some acceleration and separation here happening at the top by Shaheed. You guys are missing some of that because of a frame that I've got, but you don't miss this, the fact that Darnold has an opportunity to put that ball a little bit further out in front. Maybe he underestimated the length and the range that Forbes has. Man, you have to give Forbes credit. First of all, he's playing well, I think, in 2025. I don't look at the metrics and all that stuff in the data. I look at the film. In my opinion, the Rams have quietly, if you ask me, given him an opportunity to, resurrect his career as a former first-round pick. And so far, at least to me, it seems like he's taking advantage. Rams fans, if you're watching this long, you're welcome to let me know if that's accurate, first of all, and what you think of those thoughts in the comments section. Clearly an opportunity for Seattle to get a touchdown, right, and go up 16-14 or maybe 17-14 with a 2-point conversion. Forbes' length, his ability to recover, however, negated that opportunity or wiped it out, and Seattle had to settle for another field goal and get within 14-12. This will be the last play that I'll cover. This one's really bad, in my opinion. The interception to, I think it's Kitchens. In any case, it's a 1st and 20, again, after a hold on the offensive line. Rams are still up 14-12. So he's going to be targeting Arroyo. And I will give you the all-22 angle of this one. The inside linebacker, 48, who you guys have got on screen just there on the left-hand side. He kind of runs on the inside shoulder here, and the offensive line is giving him a little bit of room here, but it's not like everything's perfect. They did absolutely wipe out 55, in my opinion. Darnold has an opportunity to throw this football. I just don't know that he has to throw this ball. This, to me, looks like a really, really poor decision against a too high safety structure. There's Arroyo, the safety. Kitchens, like I said. I think he's a guy from University of Miami, but I could be wrong. Tackled after a short return. It's inconsequential to what we're talking about. This is the same play from the all-22. There's the safety. Arroyo's going to motion across. It's 12 personnel, but it's really not like ace. These tight ends are too far out for me to call it ace. It'd really be like flex. But in any case, this corner, I think it's Forbes, does a nice job jamming JSN in what I would refer to as a cover 2. Linebacker stays on the inside shoulder, underside of Arroyo, and this safety is in position to defend this route. I'm just not sure what Darnold is seeing, in my opinion, that forces him to throw this football. Let me put it that way. I don't know that the safety, unless the Rams or someone is a big cloud cover 3 team, and this guy's going to keep pushing to get width between the bottom of the numbers and the sideline, that's not what he does. Then what is he seeing to make him want to throw this football? I originally thought that this one was tipped. The way that I saw the ball come out, it was not, in my opinion. If you know more or better about it, feel free to let me know in the comment section. This is the one that bothers me the most because I feel like, given the game situation, your decision making has to be better than that. Ultimately, I think turnovers are really the only thing, as well as injuries, that can hold this team back. And I mean interceptions specifically. Fumbles included in that as well, whatever. Darnold's decision-making has to be better. Is the pass pro perfect all the time? No, there are issues at times, don't get me wrong, but this defense is legit. They can win you games when perhaps you shouldn't be able to. Very ironic to me that the Seahawks defense and the Lions defense this week held up and gave them an opportunity to win the game in a situation where the offense self-destructed, either through turnovers in the case of Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, or just inability to pass pro or run the ball at all, and Jared Goff's inaccuracy and almost jitters in the pocket as the game against the Eagles moved on. Basically, I think that is it a Kubiak issue? Is it a Darnold issue? I don't know. That last one there, to me, my understanding of it, my opinion, is that that's totally on Darnold. Extremely poor decision. The first one I showed you against Manfree, okay, doesn't know the safeties there. To me, the interceptions are an issue that the staff has to try to find a way to, I don't know if I want to say fix, but at least minimize those opportunities so they don't continue to occur. This Rams team is there, in my opinion, for the taking. I recognize that the opinion of most other people is that the clear favorite to make it out of the NFC. I think the NFC playoffs are going to be a dogfight. The Seahawks are going to be there. What their record will be at that time, I don't know. 13-4, 12-5, 11-6. Who cares? This defense gives you an opportunity to win games no matter where they occur. And Sam Darnold can't make some of these decisions. If some of these balls were tipped by the defensive line and I neglected to mention that, you're more than welcome to let me know in the comment section if you think I'm being too harsh on Sam Darnold. He can play better than this. The pass pro is capable of giving him opportunities to throw from a clean or clean-ish platform. And in my opinion, his decision-making, as well as the accuracy maybe in one case, really held this team back from a very clear opportunity, in my opinion, to win a game that maybe you shouldn't have against the Rams on the road. They'll get them again another time later this year. I think the Seahawks are absolutely capable of winning every game left on their schedule, including the one against the Rams and the return bout against the 49ers. I appreciate you guys' time, man. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section. Number one. Number two, if you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look at Sam Darnold's interceptions or 10 throws of his from the Week 11 loss to the Rams, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.